I've played a lot of games for my YouTube retrospectives, but which one stood out the most? Grab some breakfast and sit back as we go over the top 5 games I've played for YouTube. Alright, so this list is the top 5 games that I've played for YouTube, but with 2 rules. 1, only games that I have never played before I played them for my channel, and 2, only games that I didn't play for the purpose of reviewing. So let's jump in with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind for the PlayStation 2. This is an action beat-em-up game set around part 5 of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga, way before the current anime existed. This is a bit different from your standard beat-em-up as it's less of a level-by-level progression and more of an almost boss rush. Every single fight is its own self-contained challenge run against a single unique enemy stand, and that sets this game apart from a lot of others in this genre where you're just up against a kind of big mob, but these boss fights are so good. It's got these really over-the-top, accurate, and creative fights against the most iconic enemies in the story. Every character gets to shine in their own unique way, and they all feel like they were created separately, not just copy-pasted over some kind of default template. Plus, despite this being a 3D game, there are these really cool semi-animated manga panels with full voice acting that cover a bunch of the more dramatic or thriller-type moments of the story that might not necessarily work as well in the brawler gameplay style. It's something that shows me that this is more than just a cash-in on the IP, and the team who made it genuinely wanted to create something that the fans of the franchise would love. Next up is Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. Storm 3 was the first Storm game that I felt really nailed CyberConnect 2 and Bandai Namco's ability to create breathtaking cutscenes that matched the kind of thing that you'd only see from like full traditional animation, but in 3D and in real time. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best Ninja Storm game overall in my opinion, but this game absolutely blew me away when I was playing through it for the first time for my first retrospective video. The presentation in this series only got better and better, but this game in particular was such a wow moment for me that everything else after was just kind of icing on the cake. Plus, Storm 3 was right around when the gameplay mechanics stopped going through such constant overhauls and found a pretty good pace that was faster and more fluid than previous games in the series, and the visual fidelity in general, while not quite the peak of where the series would end up, still really holds up all these years later. And if you picked up this game today, I think the only thing you'd really notice about it versus future games, if you were just a casual fan, is the relatively smaller yet still pretty huge character roster. All in all, this game holds up. Next up, there's Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron, specifically the Nintendo DS version. While this game borrows a lot conceptually from the PSP version that plays more like the PlayStation 2 Battlefronts, the gameplay has been completely altered to a kind of top-down hybrid action shooter, with all kinds of these interspersed mini-games with speeder bikes, space battles, and turret set pieces. The story, based on the scrapped Battlefront 3, is an entertaining one that obviously isn't technically canon unless you count Legends as canon. I don't want to have that argument. It's still pretty well presented and involves 2 clone trooper brothers that have the DNA of a Jedi. One of them goes down the path of the light, while the other embraces the dark side. It sounds basic and tropey, and maybe it is, but I'm here for the gameplay and the set pieces, and the DS version really does go out of its way to use the most of the handheld. Specs be damned. A ton of this stuff was done completely differently from the PSP version, and I'd argue done far better too, even if the overall visual fidelity is lower. For fun factor alone, the DS version of this game just kind of blows the PSP version out of the water, at least unless you're just really dedicated to the third-person shooter style. There's even multiplayer arcade-style modes with a variety of gameplay types, and there's even local wireless connectivity. I know that Elite Squadron isn't probably on most people's radar, but if you have a DS and you like Star Wars, don't hesitate to check this one out. For the next game, it's actually a fan game, Hyper Dragon Ball Z. This is a traditional fighting game made in Mugen, which is a super open fighting game engine that has a pretty dedicated group of fans who make custom characters, stages, and even sometimes entire games, and this is one of those games. This game has completely custom and original artwork, mechanics, movesets, and even full voice acting that is shockingly good. The biggest highlight for me though are the ridiculously insane ultimate attacks. Stuff like Goku's Ultra Instinct attack feel like a fan animation that you could release as its own short film, let alone just a special move in a fan game. Plus there's all kinds of extra Easter eggs and humorous gags like the special character intros and stuff like Gotenks' ultimate move that can have all kinds of different hilarious outcomes. I know that there's more to a fighting game than just visuals and presentation, especially a traditional quote-unquote hardcore classic style fighting fighting game. I'm just a sucker for presentation and not all that good at fighting games in general. For me, it feels fantastic to play at any given time, and I never once felt like I had to deal with any kind of jank with any of the characters and the shockingly large roster of completely original versions of these characters. This game is totally free, and I highly recommend you check it out if you're a fan of Dragon Ball or fighting games, or even better, both. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to check it out. And finally, this one is kinda cheating, but Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I know this one is cheating, but let me explain. While I haven't actually featured this game on my channel yet, I actually have played through it and have a fully completed segment ready to go that covers this game that was supposed to be in my recent Dragon Ball compilation video. However, right around when that video was released, we got a whole bunch of news of Daima DLC, and I have an idea of a better video to feature that in actually. While I will save going into the nitty-gritty and mechanics of the game for that video, I will spoil some of my thoughts. This game is the biggest, most fleshed out explorable version of the Dragon Ball world there has ever been. The battle system on the surface looks like some kind of sparking Tenkaichi type system, but it's actually much different in execution and functions a lot more like an RPG. There's even RPG style progression mechanics for the different playable characters. But most of the time that you spend in this game is just exploring this massive world, fighting grunts and special enemies that spawn all over the place while you engage in a huge dopamine triggering collectathon of all different kinds of orbs and items, and you can go fishing and drive cars and fight dinosaurs, among about a bajillion other things. It is a treat to fly around a fully populated Dragon Ball world that progresses through the entire Dragon Ball Z saga, and even beyond that with a bunch of playable characters and a ton of side quests, collectibles, and just wow. Like, there's no better feeling than leveling up enough that you can just drag and dash through a low-level enemy on the map and instantly obliterate them to skip a fight entirely. It's just such a fun game, and I think that when I went into it, I really wasn't expecting all that much, but it sucked me in. I just could not stop playing it, and I think it's possibly one of the greatest Dragon Ball RPGs ever made. Hell, I'd say it's possibly one of the best anime games ever made. I've played a lot of anime games. You can take a look at my channel to see that much. And it's not even that it's good for a licensed game, it's just a good game that just so happens to be licensed. I really love this game, and I know that I haven't released the full segment yet, but if you haven't played this game and you're on the fence or you had any interest in it, definitely push this one up your backlog. I'm telling you, it's really good. But tell me, have you ever played any of these games? Do you agree with my choices? If so, which of these are your favorites? And if not, which ones do you think I should have had here? Let me know in the comments, and please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and ticking the notification bell so you can catch the next episode of Retro Breakfast tomorrow. Also, a quick shout out to my patrons and channel members, including That's Ash and Mego Find the Dragon Balls in the Played Every Game tier, along with these absolutely wonderful people you see on your screen. And thank you to the person watching this. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Retro Breakfast, and until then, have a fantastic day.